What is up, Sooner Nation, Surgeaholics? Lori's, man, she's rolling tonight. Already says half the people on here have not hit the like button. Lori is faithful in that. She makes sure everybody hits that like button. Thanks, Lori, for joining. Uh, just hanging out with the best show in chat. Thanks, Teresa. Appreciate that. Appreciate everybody on here tonight. Right now I'm here. Jeremy will be joining, I'm sure, at some point from a Walmart parking lot nearby. What is going on, everybody? We'll get to the chat ASAP tonight. Hey, Ron, how's it going? Fan of Scrabble? I'm not a fan of Scrabble. Never played that game. What I kind of want to dig into tonight, before we get started with it, though, appreciate you guys being on here, like always. If you got any questions, drop them in the chat. Anything you want to talk about, drop it in the chat. I will say this. Get this out of the way first, but Porter Moser in basketball is having an unbelievable July. I mean, actually an unbelievable week with what he's done over the last, 3 or 4 days, Hunter. I mean, it's just really impressive, and let's just hope that it continues and that they are able to take this to the court and win games in the SEC and him have a great year. Because if so, I think he can catapult this into a really good few years for Oklahoma based on the recruiting he's got going on. Monty says, we'll be praying, Monty, for sure. Definitely, Monty. As always, we'll be praying for you and your family there. Ron says, don't worry, Moser will blow it somehow. Yeah, who knows? I mean, could. We'll see. Jay Fez, what's up tonight? Hope you're doing well. Sounds like Taylor Tatum is having a great summer and is turning heads already. You know what? I think it would take something like that for him to – we talked about it the other night. If he can get into maybe the RB2 we'll see how high he can get. But it's going to take him turning heads. And I'll say this. After seeing the pictures released today, I think from first media pictures they took in their uniforms, Gavin Sawchuk looks like he put on a lot of muscle. I mean, I don't know if anybody else saw it or saw the pictures, but that dude looks like a legitimate, like he's going to have an unbelievable year. We'll see what happens. But he looks like he is ready to roll. I wonder what his weight is. I don't know, Hunter, if you can look it up, but Hawkins too. I mean, J-Fizz, you're right. I don't know who said Tatum was having a good summer. I don't know, great summer. I don't know where that was at, but Ricky, you're 100% right on this. Moser's been a good recruiter at Oklahoma. Look at the guys he's gotten. Milos Uzan, Otego Way. Those were two top 100 kids. He's gotten guys out of the portal. The problem is not only keeping them, but during the season, I feel like non-conference, they have a really good year. And as they got into the conference, it's just kind of, even the really good players they got out of the portal just didn't really play that great later on in the year. Gentry's put on size. A lot, 200 pounds for Sawchuk. Did you see his arms, guys? Wow. I expect him to have a breakout year. I really do. You saw the graphic tonight. Jeremy's going to be on here at some point from a Walmart parking lot. He's at a Bible study. Should be finishing it up shortly. We have defensive line on the graphic. And here's what I want to get your thoughts on tonight. Speaking of the defensive line. And Hunter, you can help me out here too, but is there any, we can talk all defense really, but is there specifically on the defensive line? Let me ask you this. Is there anything that OU is missing from last year's defensive line that you're saying, well, they don't have that this year? I don't think that's the case. I think across the board, they're better in all facets on the defensive line. You take any facet, size, talent, I think all of it, they're better, which should translate to a lot better season, I think, overall defensively when you have the guys up front. So I'd be interested to know. I know last year, you had the likes of Rondell Bothroyd. I think Rondell Bothroyd was a good player at Oklahoma. I think the guys they got there now are a little more talented. That's what I would say. I think Bothroyd played really good last year for the most part, but he didn't do anything that just I think would wow you. I think there's some guys there this year that will wow you. You know, I think that's the difference. We do know that last year, guys, they were ranked, I believe, 9 or 10 overall in tackles for loss. In Brent Venables' 2 seasons, they've been unbelievable at tackles for loss, and that hasn't been the problem. The problem seems to lie in sometimes getting off the field. Now, third down efficiency was better last year. They got off the field a lot more. They were ranked pretty high, I believe, like 14th in that. But so they improved in a lot of categories defensively last year. I think they take a big step again this year because I think legitimately defensive line is going to be a strength, I think, on this defense. It's going to be a big strength. Mess says this defensive roster is better than any Bob Stoops had at OU. You know, I mean, that's any it's the best in a long time. I don't know if I would go with any roster he had. There was some, you talk about that 2000, there's a few years in those early 2000s that were just unbelievable mess. It's an unbelievable talented team this year, though. Ron, they got worn down, poorly conditioned team. Yeah, I mean, they did last year. They also had some injuries. I mean, let's face facts. Danny Stutzman's injury killed him. And, I mean, it killed him when he got hurt. You could go down the list. There were some other injuries. I mean, Gentry Williams could not stay on the field. That was a big loss. You know, but you look at guys. I'm going to mention some guys. And, you know, Jacob Lacey last year. You had Jacob Lacey in the middle. He played good. I think they're a little more talented this year than that. I mentioned Bothroyd. Trace Ford last year. I'm not sure, guys, how much Trace Ford is going to be in the rotation. He'll be in there. I just don't know how much based on what they have this year. Josh, this is a great question. I do not think it will happen with Brent Venables. I think Brent Venables has the philosophy of changing every game. Although, Josh, I'm kind of in agreement with you here. I would be totally down to have captains for the whole year instead of switching it every week. I don't think that will happen. I think that's something Brent Venables really loves to do. So I don't think that will happen. Colin says, the two-sport athlete just got for basketball and baseball 6'6", going to be a center fielder. Yeah, he's really good at both sports. I believe I saw something somewhere. It might have been from Brody Lusk there on Twitter with OU Insider said that maybe he hit 565 last year. And, you know, he hasn't really got to play summer basketball because of baseball. So otherwise he would even be ranked higher in basketball. So he's a great get. Lori says, hey, Jimmy, I guess I'm invisible. Did that really good kicker come in or did he go somewhere else? Are you talking about Liam Evans, the kicker out of high school? He came in. It's going to be a kicking game in the fall as far as who's going to get that. They're going to have a lot of probably – I've talked about this before. They're going to have practices. They're going to have all these things that say who the kicker is. It won't tell me a dang thing until they get out there week one and see him kicking a game. In fact, I'm all for putting 2 kickers out there in the first couple of games. I'm serious. I know a lot of people hate the switching of quarterbacks like that, but I think in this instance for kickers, I think it matters because I think kickers, until you put them in the game in between the white lines, and even in a non-pressure situation, it's pressure because you're kicking for your job at that point. I'd like to see how they do going against each other in the first few games. I mean, unless somebody is just that far ahead in the fall, that would be the only thing I would see that could keep you from that. Find the guy that's hot, JFS says. Yeah, I work with Jade on stealing home runs. Yeah, Matt, you're right. Those injuries killed. They killed him. What's the ceiling for David Stone and Jaden Jackson? I think in year one, the ceiling, I'm sure they have high ceilings to make. I think first team all SEC, which would be an amazing accomplishment as a freshman. I think all SEC in general, okay? First, second, however many teams they do, 3 teams. I think that to me would probably be that would be tough to do even. And I think that might be the ceiling. I don't know. What do you guys think? Are you talking about stat wise? Or are you talking about maybe what they could get to as far as that. I think playing time wise, David Stone and Jaden Jackson can play quite a bit this year, and I think they will play quite a bit if you're talking about the ceiling of how much playing time they're going to get. Bobby says no shot. No shot at third team all SEC. Is that what you're saying, Bobby? Anyway, can you set us up so one of us on here can be honorary captain? That'd be kind of funny. Bobby, what is the no shot comment about? Expand on that, please. You're saying no shot as far as third team all SEC. I know it's very tough, but we're talking about the ceiling. I'm not saying it's going to happen, Bobby. He asked what the ceiling would be. You got to have a ceiling that's, that's kind of stretching it, don't you? Instead of just giving an easy ceiling. I mean, I know that would be very difficult. I mean, Nick Anderson last year. Does anybody think Nick Anderson? I know he had a good year, but a lot of people don't even think Nick Anderson. For some of y'all on there, don't think he had a great. Is one of the best receivers on Oklahoma. Yet he made second team. Did he make second team all freshman or something? I believe all American. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. What do you think the ceiling would be, guys, for those two guys? Love to hear your opinions. What do you think? The ceiling for David Stone, the ceiling for Jaden Jackson. I can promise you they have very high expectations on themselves and probably from the staff. I think they're that good. They're that talented players. So I'd be interested to know your thoughts. Yeah, somebody else said this, Jimmy. Who was it that said it earlier, Hunter? I'm trying to remember. But a lot of people are saying, I guess, saying good things about Taylor Tatum, which that shouldn't be a shock, being that he was a 5-star running back, the highest, one of the highest rated running backs in the nation. So I don't think it's a shock. It's just, I look at it as this. If he's turning heads and he's looking really good, is he looking good enough to get past Hicks to be RB2? I don't see anything where he's going to be RB1 over Gavin Sawchuk. So I think he can maybe get to 2 depending on how Hicks is doing. So I think he's a 5-star running back. 5-star running backs, they don't come around that often at Oklahoma. So I hope he's turning heads. I hope he's looking really good. And I think he'll get some action. As far as how much he's going to play, I don't know. I think you got Sawchuk and Hicks and some other guys. Think they will both play a lot behind Terry and Williams. I agree they'll both play a lot. Now, Ron, this is a fact. If you turn heads in the summer at Oklahoma, a lot of times you don't hear about them in the fall, and as games get going, we've a lot of fans have been in that boat where they've heard things. So I would say a little bit hold your horses on it until we get to game times. Yeah, I think they'll do well first year, Monty. I really do. I mean, it's going to be a different animal, SEC. It's a different animal than being a freshman in the Big 12, that's for sure. And if there was one guy out of those two, do you think one gets more playing time than the other? Do you think Jaden Jackson or David Stone? I'd be interested to know on that too. I mean, I think it's Dominique Williams is going to be kind of your bell cow in the middle, and then you got DeJoun Terry as well. But we'll see what kind of a rotation they do on that defensive unit up front. I think that's very intriguing of what they're going to do up front as far as what kind of substitution patterns they're going to have, what kind of rotation. So I'm interested to see it. When does camp start up? I believe July 31st, if I'm not mistaken. So next week, I believe, is when it starts up, John. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's July 31st. Colin says, I've seen some people say OU is starting to expand its lead for Pasusi. I saw a little bit of Steve Wilfong today on Twitter with a little video talking about it. Here's what Steve Wilfong basically said. OU's making a run. Texas, I still feel good about. Texas A&M, wouldn't count them out. He told me nothing, okay, watching the video. So I don't know take from that what you want. I still am over 50% that I think OU is going to land Pasusi. I think I was at 53% a few days ago. That's where I'm kind of sticking, 53, 55%. We'll see what happens. Halton will play a lot too. That's another name. What about Devon Sears, guys? He has not been mentioned a lot. He put on some good good muscle, good weight. Devon Sears, Champ Sanders. Those are two names you're not hearing a whole lot about. Your thoughts on those guys? How you think that's going to end up? Am I missing somebody in the middle that we're not talking about? I mean, we've talked about. Let's talk about the middle. Dominique Williams, DeJoun Terry, Grayson Halton, Devon Sears, Champ Sanders, David Stone, Jaden Jackson. That's seven players in the middle that I just mentioned. Is there somebody I did not mention out of that group? I'm trying to remember. I don't think I left anybody out. So it'll be interesting. Do they go 4? They go 6? I mean, how much of rotation are they going to do? And when I say rotation, I mean there it is, Marcus. Yeah, Strong. Thanks, Jimmy. Appreciate you. I knew somebody would know that. Thank you. So that's 8 guys there. You know, how many do they do a continuous rotation of? I think 4. Continuous. When I mean 4, when I'm saying you get into the big games, I think you look at 4 guys probably that are going to get probably 90% of the time. You'll have 6 T-Fez that probably get into the game, but I'm saying the majority of the snaps, I think 4. I would think. I mean, they'll play 6. I just think how many snaps will the last 2 get? Who you talking about? Matt, Lori, they're talking about Fasusi, I believe, about a bag drop 24 hours before commit. So we'll see. Got my tickets to the Temple game, Tyree says. Super excited. Oh, man. That is exciting, and it's crazy that it's almost a month away. Just unbelievable. Woolard, he's a defensive end, and I think he's going to play quite a bit at defensive end. I really do. I like Woolard. If you watch any of his tape, he's really good. He's really talented, and he's a hard worker. I mean, he's kind of a blue-collar defensive end type. You put him and Downs on both sides. I mean, I'm not saying most talented probably when you look at guys like P.J. Audibare and R. Mason Thomas, but both guys that can make plays, I think for sure. Yeah, that's a big thing, Lori. It's a big thing these days. It's a big thing OU wanted when Brent Venables came on, and it's coming to fruition, right? That's a positive. Yeah, Colin, there's been a lot of talk about that with Kennedy. We'll see. Mess says all defensive SEC to be announced end of 2024. Dominique Williams, Ethan Downs, P.J. Audibare, Dennis Tutzman, Deshaun McCullough, Genty Williams, Billy Bowman. Man, Mess, well, I guess if you're 12-0, like Mess says, if you're 12-0, then I guess you have a good chance to have a lot on the all SEC defense. Hey, it's time for trivia tonight. Here we go. Before I get to the question, make sure after the live, go to the FanStop, www.thefanstop.com. When you get there, look at the shirt of the month. You can sign up for the monthly shirt. You get it sent to your mailbox around sometime near between the 1st and 10th of the month. You'll get that shirt. You get a new one every month. Use code SURGE. You'll get 10% off that. They also have other things you can sign up for with hoodies, a different package with hoodies and jackets, whatever. They have a lot of officially licensed merchandise on there. Check it out. So, as you know, we're giving away 2 tickets to OU versus Houston. One way you can get your name on the wheels by getting the trivia question right tonight. So, here we go with the trivia question. We're talking defense tonight. How many defensive touchdowns did Oklahoma score last year? I think it's pretty easy. How many defensive touchdowns did Oklahoma score last year? First one to get on here gets the point for the night. I did see that. We talked about that last night. Not 12. That'd be unbelievable. There's the answer. 4. I believe Dalpose was first. Hunter, verify for me, but I think Dalpose again first tonight. Good job, Dalpose. You had 3 from Billy Bowman, and then you had 1 from Danny Stutzman. So there you go. 3 from Billy Bowman, 1 from Danny Stutzman. So good job, Dalpose. Way to go. Impressive. I think that's 2 out of the last 3 nights, 2 out of the last 4 for you. So good job. You're getting the name on the wheel multiple times. Lucky guess, he says. Don't admit it, Dalpose. You do not admit it when you get a lucky guess. You just say, I knew that answer. So, yeah, what else do you want to talk about tonight, guys? as we get going on, continue on this live. Did anybody watch any of the ACC media days? I did not. Just saw little clips from it. Didn't watch a whole lot from it, but their commissioner's being I don't know if strict's a word, or he's definitely not going to have anything to do with anybody leaving that conference. It sounds like. Better to be lucky than good. Road game you are most excited for? Great question, Sports Geek 91. Thanks for joining tonight. To me, it's one game, and I don't know why I'm the most excited about this, because it's not like a great a place to watch a game, but I think it's Missouri, and I know that's because right now the hype that Missouri's getting, and with the recruiting stuff going on with Missouri, I'm probably the most excited for that game, because I do think that's a game OU's going to go in and win. If you want to talk venue, most excited about, it would be LSU. No questions asked. Now, Ole Miss is a close second, but LSU to me would be unbelievable. It would be unbelievable. Definitely receive that one. Yeah, the Missouri game is going to be and I heard this today, and Hunter, I don't know if you can pull up the schedule for this week. It'd be great to look at, but there is a very good chance, I think, that if OU doesn't have a slip up, and they shouldn't in the non-con schedule, I think the Tennessee game to open up SEC play will be College Game Day. I think there's a very good shot of it. If you pull up the schedule, Hunter, I heard some people talking about in the radio today, and they were comparing it could be OU, Tennessee, or OSU and Utah. And I'm thinking, if you're thinking OSU and Utah, then there must not be very many great games that week. If you're mentioning that, but we'll see. I think that would be great. First SEC game in Norman to have College Game Day there. Kurt Herbstreit was just there recently talking to Brent Venables, as you saw. Yeah, and you're right, Bobby. Peyton already saying he's going to be there. That's true. You know what else I'd be interested to know? And maybe this should be a trivia question, but I don't know the answer to it. So I don't know if Hunter would be able to find the answer before I asked it, but probably not. But how many times has College Game Day been to Norman, and what is OU's record? I'd be really interested to know OU's record with College Game Day in Norman. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head how they fared. I mean, they fare pretty good because they don't lose at home that often. And when they do lose at home, it seems like it's against not very good teams that they should be, like Iowa State a few years. But I believe Notre Dame game might have been game day. They got beat in that one. The Ohio State game, I believe in Norman, may have been trying to remember if that was a College Game Day game. But I'm pretty sure the Notre Dame game was, and that did not go well at all, if y'all remember. They've had some bedlam games there in Norman. But I'm trying to think, other than those games, what else? It's a great thing to look into. You're right, J-Fizz. It's a great question to kind of look into. 8 times, Bobby says maybe, and yes, Notre Dame for sure. Does anybody remember that game? The high hopes that OU had going into that game, and they just got it handed to them. That was a very disappointing game. 8 times Tyree is confirming from Bobby. Thanks, Surgeaholics. Y'all are the best for looking that up. If I had to guess record-wise, I would guess 8-2. In 8 games, I'd guess 6-2, 5-3 at the worst, probably. I would guess 6-2. Off the top of my head, that's what I would say, 6-2. Bobby says 6-2. Bam! Look at that. That's right, Bobby. Hey, us Surgeaholics on here, we know OU football. That's all I can say. There's 2 games I look at home that I was the most amped for outside of Big 12 play over the last probably 10 to 15 years, and they were both games that OU lost. I mean, Ohio State, night game, Notre Dame, night game. They lost both those games. Before that, you had Florida State come in. I believe Miami Hurricane come in. They had some good games, but those 2 were different. Notre Dame and Ohio State, and they had Tennessee come in as well. I remember the Tennessee game, which Eric Stryker had a great game, unbelievable. So, oh my gosh, Te'o. Was it Mandy Te'o? I'm trying to remember his name. I want to say Te'o. Is that right? Is that right, Hunter? Te'o?
That's correct.
Oh, whoa, hello. Who do
I've
we
been
have
on
here?
here, but I don't know where I'm at.
Who do we have here? It's Jeremy. Jeremy is here.
Yeah, I'm here. I can't see me, but
Yeah, I guess Hunter's got to turn you in there. I can't do it from my end. It doesn't look like. So, yeah, we're talking about those college game days. Been to Oklahoma 8 times. We're talking about the possibility of college game day coming to Norman against Tennessee.
that'd be massive, Jay. First game of the year, SEC.
I think there's a good shot of it. Good shot. How's it going tonight, Jerm? There he is. There he is. He's in.
I went and added myself. How's that?
Oh, there you go. You're good.
Ron, I want out of my 07 Odyssey, though, Ron. That's the rumor. I want out of my 07 Odyssey, but I can't.
Hey, Bobby, Notre Dame and Colorado, the 2 lost to Norman. Okay, I had forgotten about the Colorado game. That was that Schnelly? I believe it was Schnelly.
Unreal. Jay, do you remember the quarterback in that game for Colorado?
Number 9?
Joe Klatt.
Was it really?
Pretty sure it was Joe Klatt.
I don't think it was Joe Klatt, Jeremy.
I'm pretty sure it was Joe Klatt.
I don't think it was Joe Klatt.
Bobby says it was Joe Klatt.
Maybe it was. Okay. They weren't running option at that time?
No.
Really? I thought they were still running option.
There was another quarterback that played for them that was kind of similar to Joe Klatt, but I know who you're...
Best quarterback to play at Colorado, who would you say?
I haven't followed Colorado.
Cordell Stewart.
Got to be Cordell Stewart. Actually,
Cordell Stewart.
Rice was good too.
Yeah, I think Cordell Stewart. Oh, Shador. Hunter says Shador.
Not even close, Hunter.
Yeah, Klatt was later, Matt says. You're wrong, I think.
Maybe it was Hagan. No, Darian Hagan is who. Ron's talking about Darian Hagan.
He was number 9. Thanks.
Who was that quarterback, Jay? I can picture him.
Somebody said John Hessler. Was that it?
That sounds right.
Hey, how about this?
What have you been talking about tonight, Jay?
We talked about defensive line a little bit, defensively. Just kind of, is there anything that they're missing from last year's defensive line unit that you'd be like, man, they're going to miss it? I think they're better all across the board everywhere.
Absolutely better across the board. They're deeper across the board. They're more physical. The edges, they have more. They're more deep on the edge.
Yep, I agree.
And I'm going to say it again, Jay. I'm going to say it again, Jay. I'm sure people already said it. I don't want to see much of Trace Ford, if any at all.
Ron says DG's all we've been talking about. Let me get to Dalpo's questions, then I want to go to the other one. Where does OU rank as far as toughest environment in SEC? I'd put LSU ahead of it.
Georgia ahead of them. Bama ahead of them.
I don't know. Georgia, I don't know if their environment I don't yes. I compare Alabama and Georgia a little bit to OU.
I put Tennessee ahead of OU.
I think Tennessee's one up there. I do think LSU.
OU would be probably 7th.
Hey, Hunter, Georgia's only ahead because Georgia's really good. Okay?
Their environment's great, Jay.
Their environment's great, but it's not. I don't think it's that much better than Oklahoma's. Hey, by the way, I want to get to this. Jake Taylor. You've seen the stuff on him. How he's made people saying he's making huge strides. Somebody from OU said he's looking unbelievable. That would be massive. And we can talk about Fabechi transferring in, how big it is. Hickman transferring in, how big it is. You already have Sexton. But if Jake Taylor made a huge step over the summer and is going to be a really good player this year, to me, that might solidify that unit, Jeremy.
John, I know you're kidding. You're wanting to get me fired up. You didn't talk any Nick Anderson. You didn't talk any DG.
That's right. Arkansas, Ron, I don't think so. I mean, I've been there. I live in the area, and their fans. It's not basketball. If it was basketball, 100%,
Or baseball.
or baseball, but the football fans, they love going to the games, but it's not like a. I don't think it's a wild environment. A&M's one. Ron, that's a good point. A&M's a tough place. I would agree with that.
Lori, BV is to the point where I think he's thrown the loyalty cards out the window, and Trace Ford's one of those. I don't see what playing Trace Ford adds at all. I think he should be a mop-up guy.
Well, we talked about it, Jeremy. We talked about it earlier. We mentioned 8 players on the defensive line, interior only.
Just interior.
Yeah. How many of those do you think legitimately are in rotation? I say when you get into the meat of the season, you got 4 that are playing 90% of the downs, and then maybe you go 6 deep for the other 10%. But I don't think you're getting to 8.
I could see 80-20 on 6.
I mean, we'll see, though. They might.
The edge, Jay, I can name 6 edge guys, and Ford's not one of the top 6.
Go for it.
I mean, I'm guessing I can.
Go for it.
Well, you got Ethan Downs, PJ Adebawore, R. Mason Thomas, Caden Woolard, Danny Okoye. There's someone besides him at number 6. I'm just not thinking of it right now. But there
John,
is one.
John.
Deshaun McCullough can play edge more than him.
Oh, stop. Hey, John, who do you see jumping in the portal after this year? I'm not going to name names, but I'll say this. If you look at running back, if a few of those running backs that have been there for a few years don't get a lot of playing time, I mean, was Tatum already there for the future? I could see a running back. I think it's like that. It's going to be guys that have been there a couple of years and aren't getting playing time. But you know what? I also don't know, because I think there are players that absolutely love playing at Oklahoma and they don't want to leave, even if they're not playing that much.
Yeah.
You hear Brent Venables talk about developmental game. Some guys get better in the 3rd or 4th year. So I can't really even forecast what I would think on that. Right?
Yeah, and Barnes is one that makes sense. Trace Ford is a shell of himself to where he was at OSU, I think. But hey, Nigel Smith is a name that people aren't talking about enough, maybe. Answering Ron's question, my son is in cross country this fall. He'll be a freshman, running against the big dogs now. He did run a 5K race and won his age group, got 5th overall, ran a 17:43. It's his best 5K of his life. So he's making progress, making strides.
Nice. And Mess, I think that's fair. I think Trace Ford is a stout player, but OU has a lot of stout players. Is there somebody in the car with you?
No, I was just responding to Lori just to appease her comment.
Oh, I thought somebody was behind you. You look back there.
College game day in Norman, OU, Tennessee. You think it's happening, Jay?
Well, I had Hunter going to pull up the schedule maybe, but I don't think I'm hearing a lot of talk that there's just not that could be the game they're going to be at that week. We'll see. How many times has college game day been in Norman, Jeremy? Do you know? We figured it out. Surgeaholics looked it up.
How many times?
Yeah.
Less than 20.
Oh, yeah. They've lost twice.
I would say 9 or 10.
8 times.
Okay. Hey, I'll go to an OU softball live. I know there's people doing plenty of those lately. People trying to talk about anything and everything in the softball world. I'm not one of those, but if I see Nigeria Kennedy out here, I'll make sure I get on a softball live.
Yeah, Peyton's going to pull for it. Yeah.
Appreciate that, Monty. Appreciate that. He has dreams of running in college. My wife ran in college and it was an amazing runner. Hopefully he can follow in her footsteps.
So,
hit the like button, guys.
Hey, Olympics in his future?
That'd be great if he wants to. I'm not going to push him to that.
Yeah. Friday night opening ceremony Olympics. Man, it's getting ready to ramp up. August.
Hey, tomorrow night is Thursday night, right?
Tomorrow's Wednesday.
Tomorrow's Wednesday. Let's talk about the offensive line tomorrow night, Jay.
I think
about
that's
the offensive line tomorrow night.
I agree. I think that's a great topic for tomorrow night. Collins says Gibson better than Farouk. Thoughts?
Absolutely better.
Well, I think right now with Farouk's injury, you would have to say, and Gibson, he keeps tweeting out that tweet about him not being mentioned about the offensive for Oklahoma, and he put a clock by it today. That's driving him right now.
But there is one thing I will say: Gibson is not as good as Farouk yet.
What's that?
I'm not sure Gibson's a better yards after a catch guy. He usually catches deep balls and goes. I mean, I'm not sure you want him going across the middle a lot and trying to scat around some guys.
Yeah,
we definitely know Farouk's better at fumbling.
Hunter, and if they went to USC over Michigan, the ESPN's going to try to push game day to be at an SEC. I would think in that, but who knows? Maybe not.
Ron, I'm not talking about who the starters are tomorrow night. I'm talking about who are the guys on the offensive line. What do each of them bring? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? I want to do a little research on that.
Hey, did you see Garen Hatchett at the concert? He looks pretty good.
Does he?
I don't remember what concert. They were at a concert. It looks like Jackson Arnold was there with them and a couple other guys. But, yeah. Hunter, NC State at Clemson, you're comparing to OU Tennessee.
Wow.
Not even close.
Wow.
Yeah, let's not start the hate right now, Jeremy. Let's wait.
I didn't start any hate.
Okay.
I've been very cordial, Jay.
Anything else tonight, Jerm?
That's it, man. I'm ready to rock and roll tomorrow. Apologize for being late.
It's all right. We'll be ready to go tomorrow. I hope you guys will too, Surgeaholics. Tomorrow night, offensive line talk. Join up. Appreciate you guys, as always, carrying the chat. Couldn't do it without you. Y'all get it going. You answer questions. If we need to find answers, you look them up and get them. You're the best. Appreciate it. We will talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a great Wednesday. Talk to you tomorrow.
Bummer.